Hello, my little love. Did you have a good day today? I hope something made you smile. Now take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, and let your mind get soft and quiet. It's time for a gentle bedtime story. Long ago, when the world was still learning how to be beautiful, there lived a goddess named Demeter. She had hair the color of ripe wheat that swayed in the summer breeze, and her eyes were as warm and brown as freshly turned earth. Demeter was the goddess of the harvest, and she had a very special gift. Wherever she walked, plants would grow. Wherever she placed her gentle hands, seeds would sprout and reach toward the sun. Demeter loved the earth more than anything. She loved the feeling of soil between her fingers, cool and crumbly and full of life. She loved the smell of rain on dry ground, that fresh, clean scent that promised new growth. She loved watching tiny green shoots push up through the dirt, brave and determined, reaching for the light. Most of all, she loved sharing the earth's gifts with everyone who lived upon it. Every morning, Demeter would wake with the sun and walk barefoot through the fields. The grass would tickle her feet, still wet with dew that sparkled like tiny diamonds in the early light. She would greet each plant like an old friend, touching the corn stalks gently, brushing her fingers over the soft leaves of lettuce, checking on the grapevines as they climbed their wooden supports, curling and reaching higher each day. The farmers who worked the land loved Demeter dearly. She would visit their fields and show them how to care for their crops. She taught them which seeds to plant when the moon was full and round like a silver plate in the sky. She showed them how to tell when the soil was ready, when it was dark and rich and smelled like life itself. She explained how to read the clouds, knowing which ones brought gentle rain and which ones would pass by overhead without sharing their water. Under Demeter's care, the fields became oceans of gold. Wheat and barley grew tall and strong, their heads heavy with grain that swayed back and forth in the wind like waves on a golden sea. Apple trees bent low with the weight of their fruit, their branches offering up treasures of red and green. Grapevines produced clusters of purple grapes so sweet that just one taste would make you close your eyes and smile. Everyone had enough to eat because Demeter made sure the earth was generous and kind. Children would run through the fields, laughing and playing hide and seek among the tall corn stalks. Their parents would gather the harvest, singing songs of thanks, their baskets overflowing with vegetables and fruits and grains of every kind. But Demeter had a secret that made her happiest of all. She had a daughter named Persephone, who was as beautiful and bright as the first flower of spring. Persephone had her mother's gentle way with growing things, and together they would walk through meadows hand in hand, leaving trails of wildflowers behind them. Wherever their feet touched the ground, daisies and poppies and sweet clover would spring up, painting the world in cheerful colors. Demeter and Persephone were more than mother and daughter. They were best friends. They would tell each other stories while they worked, their voices mingling with the songs of birds and the humming of bees. They would laugh together at the butterflies who seemed to follow Persephone wherever she went, landing on her shoulders and in her hair like living jewels. They would rest together in the shade of apple trees, sharing fruit and watching clouds drift by overhead, soft and white against the endless blue sky. One day, while Persephone was gathering flowers in a meadow far from home, something unexpected happened. The earth opened gently beneath her feet, and she found herself traveling down into a place she had never seen before. It was the underworld, the kingdom beneath the ground where everything rested and grew quiet. The god of this realm, Hades, had seen Persephone's kindness and her gentle way with living things. And he had hoped she might visit his kingdom, which was beautiful but very lonely. When Demeter discovered that her daughter was gone, her heart felt heavy and sad, like a stone had settled in her chest. She searched everywhere, calling Persephone's name across fields and forests, over mountains and beside rivers. The wind carried her voice far and wide, but no answer came back to her. As the days passed and Persephone did not return, Demeter found it hard to think about anything except how much she missed her daughter. The joy had gone out of her work. When she walked through the fields now, her footsteps felt slow and tired. She forgot to sing to the plants. She forgot to check on the growing things. All she could think about was the empty space beside her where Persephone used to walk. Slowly, without Demeter's care and attention, the fields began to change. The plants seemed to sense her sadness. The wheat stalks grew less golden and bent their heads down, as if they too were sad. The fruit trees let their leaves drift down to the ground, one by one, like gentle tears. The flowers closed their petals and went to sleep. Even the grass turned from green to gold to brown, rustling with a quiet, whispering sound when the wind blew through it. The farmers noticed the change. They came to find Demeter and saw that her eyes held such deep sadness. "Great goddess," they said softly, "what troubles you? How can we help?" But Demeter could only shake her head. "My daughter is gone," she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. "And I cannot find her anywhere." The farmers understood then. They knew that a mother's love for her child is one of the strongest forces in the world. They gathered together and decided to search for Persephone too. They asked the birds, who flew high and could see far. They asked the deer, who traveled through deep forests. They asked the fish in the streams, who swam to distant places. But no one had seen the young goddess. As more time passed, the world grew colder. A chill crept into the air, even though it should have been the warm season. The sun still shone, but its light seemed paler somehow, less golden. The wind that had once been warm and gentle now had a cool edge to it that made people pull their cloaks tighter around their shoulders. The animals began to prepare for a long rest. Squirrels gathered nuts and acorns, storing them away in hollow trees. Bears looked for caves where they could curl up and sleep. Birds who usually sang all day grew quiet and still. Even the busy bees stopped visiting flowers and stayed close to their hives, clustered together for warmth. Down in the underworld, Persephone had been discovering a different kind of beauty. The realm beneath the earth was not dark and frightening as some might think. It was peaceful and calm, lit by glowing crystals that shone with a soft, silvery light. Rivers of clear water flowed quietly through caves, their gentle bubbling sound echoing softly like a lullaby. Strange and lovely plants grew there, pale flowers that glowed faintly, mushrooms that sparkled with frost-like crystals. Mosses so soft they felt like velvet beneath your hand. Hades, the god of this quiet kingdom, was kind to Persephone. He showed her all the wonders of his realm. He took her to gardens where flowers bloomed without sunlight, their petals luminous and cool. He showed her caves filled with crystals that sang when you touched them, ringing out clear notes like bells made of ice. He walked with her beside underground lakes so still and clear they reflected everything perfectly, like mirrors made of water. Hades was lonely, you see. His kingdom was beautiful, but he had no one to share it with. All the other gods lived above in the sunshine, and few ever came to visit the underworld. When Persephone arrived, bringing her gentle kindness and her wonder at all the beautiful things around her, Hades felt his heart grow warm for the first time in a very long while. He offered her fruits that grew in his gardens, special pomegranates with seeds like tiny rubies. Persephone, who was hungry after her long journey, ate 6 of the jewel-like seeds without thinking. They tasted sweet and strange, like nothing she had ever had before. But as soon as she swallowed them, she remembered something important. There was an ancient law that said anyone who ate food from the underworld would need to stay there. Persephone's eyes filled with tears, not because the underworld wasn't beautiful or because Hades wasn't kind, but because she missed her mother so much. She thought of Demeter walking alone through the fields, and her heart ached with longing to see her again, to hug her and tell her all about the wonders she had seen. Hades saw her tears and felt sorry. He hadn't meant to trap her. He had only wanted to share his home with someone who could appreciate its quiet beauty. Someone who could see that even places of rest and stillness had their own special magic. Up above, the world had grown very cold indeed. Nothing new was growing at all now. The fields stood bare and brown. The trees were empty of leaves. Frost covered the ground each morning, turning the grass silver and crunchy beneath people's feet. Everyone was worried. They had stored away food for a little while, but if nothing grew at all, what would happen? Finally, Zeus, the king of all the gods who lived high on Mount Olympus where he could watch over everything, saw what was happening. He saw the earth growing cold and still. He saw Demeter, her heart so heavy with sadness that she could barely lift her head. He saw Persephone in the underworld, missing her mother. And he saw Hades, who had learned what it meant to care for someone. Zeus called all the gods together for a meeting. They sat in a great hall where clouds drifted past the windows and lightning flickered gently in the distance like candles being lit. Zeus explained the problem, and all the gods nodded thoughtfully. Something had to be done. The world needed Demeter's joy and care, or nothing would grow ever again. After much discussion, Zeus made a wise decision. He sent his messenger Hermes, who wore winged sandals that let him fly as fast as thought, down to the underworld to speak with Hades and Persephone. Hermes was clever and kind, and he explained the problem gently. "The world above is growing cold," Hermes said, his voice musical and light. "Because Demeter misses her daughter so much that she has forgotten to help things grow. But Persephone has eaten 6 pomegranate seeds, so she must stay in the underworld for 6 months of every year. However, she can return to her mother for the other 6 months." When Hades heard this, he felt both sad and happy at the same time. Sad because Persephone would leave, but happy because he knew it was the right thing. He had learned that loving someone sometimes means letting them go, at least for a while. When Persephone heard this, she felt the same mixture of feelings. She would miss the peaceful underworld and her friend Hades, but oh, How wonderful it would be to see her mother again and feel the sunshine on her face. Hermes brought Persephone back up to the world above. As she rose through the earth like a flower pushing up through soil, the sun seemed to shine brighter, warmer. And there, waiting for her with open arms and tears of joy running down her cheeks, was Demeter. They ran to each other and embraced, holding on tight, and as they did, something magical happened all around them. The earth felt Demeter's joy and responded. Tiny green shoots pushed up through the cold ground. Buds appeared on the bare branches of trees. Flowers began to open, their petals unfolding like small hands reaching toward the sun. The ice and frost melted into water that soaked into the earth, and everywhere, life began to stir and wake up. This was the first spring the world had ever known. The air grew warm and gentle. Birds returned from wherever they had been hiding and began to sing again, filling the air with music. Butterflies emerged from their cocoons and fluttered through meadows that were suddenly thick with flowers. Baby animals were born, taking their first wobbly steps on legs that weren't quite steady yet. For 6 months, Persephone stayed with her mother. They were the happiest 6 months Demeter had ever known. Together they walked through fields of waving grain. Together they tended gardens bursting with vegetables. Together they watched the world bloom and grow and flourish. The farmers sang as they worked, grateful for the return of warmth and growth. Children played in meadows full of wildflowers, weaving crowns of daisies and dandelions. This was spring and summer, the time of growth and warmth and plenty. The sun rose early and set late, giving everyone long, golden days to enjoy. Bees hummed busily among the flowers. Rivers sparkled in the sunlight. Everything was alive and growing and beautiful. But when 6 months had passed, Persephone knew it was time to return to the underworld. She had made a promise, and she always kept her promises. She kissed her mother goodbye, and though Demeter felt sad, it was a different kind of sadness now. It was gentler, softer, like missing someone but knowing you'll see them again soon. "Don't worry, Mother," Persephone said, holding Demeter's hands in her own. "I'll be back in 6 months. The time will pass quickly, you'll see. And Hades needs a friend. The underworld is beautiful, but it's lonely. Someone needs to bring light and laughter there too." Demeter nodded, trying to be brave. She understood that her daughter had grown and learned important things. She understood that Persephone was needed in 2 places now, and that was okay. Love doesn't mean holding on tight forever. Sometimes love means letting go. As Persephone returned to the underworld, the world began to change again. But this time, Demeter understood what was happening. She wasn't as sad as before because she knew her daughter would return. Still, she missed Persephone, and the earth reflected her feelings. The leaves on the trees began to change color, turning brilliant shades of red and orange and yellow and gold. They looked like flames without heat, like pieces of sunset caught in the branches. One by one, they let go and drifted down, spinning and twirling in the air like dancers before settling on the ground in soft, crunchy piles. This was autumn, the time of harvest. Farmers gathered all the crops that had grown during the warm months. They picked apples and pears from the trees. They cut the wheat and tied it into bundles. They dug up potatoes and carrots from the earth. Everyone worked together to store food away for the cold months ahead, and they were grateful for all the earth had given them. Then, as autumn faded, the air grew colder still. The first snowflakes began to fall, drifting down from gray clouds like tiny white feathers. So light they seemed to float rather than fall. They covered everything in a blanket of white that sparkled in the sunlight like diamonds scattered across the ground. This was winter, the time of rest. The earth grew quiet and still. Animals curled up in warm dens and hollow trees to sleep through the cold. Trees stood bare, their branches reaching up to the sky like arms stretched in a long, peaceful stretch. The world became soft and hushed, covered in snow that muffled all sounds. During these 6 months, while Persephone was in the underworld, Demeter would rest too. She would sit by warm fires and think about her daughter, remembering all their happy times together. She would plan what they would do when Persephone returned. She would dream about the flowers they would plant and the fields they would walk through. And though she was quieter and sadder during these months, she knew that the time would pass, and spring would come again. Down in the underworld, Persephone brought warmth and life to Hades' kingdom. She tended the glowing gardens, coaxing new flowers to bloom in the gentle darkness. She explored deep caves and discovered new wonders. She told Hades stories about the world above, about sunshine and butterflies and the way wheat fields looked like oceans of gold. And Hades listened and smiled, grateful for her companionship. Hades learned so much from Persephone during those 6 months. He learned about patience and kindness. He learned about the joy of sharing beautiful things with a friend. He learned that his kingdom was even more special when there was someone to appreciate it with him. And though he was sad when it was time for her to leave, he understood that she needed to return to her mother and the world above. When 6 months had passed and it was time for Persephone to return, Demeter would feel her heart begin to lighten, like a flower bud getting ready to open. She would start to smile more. She would begin to hum little songs while she worked. And the earth would sense her growing happiness and begin to stir from its winter sleep. The snow would melt into streams that gurgled and babbled over stones. The ice on ponds would crack and break apart. Under the ground, where no one could see, seeds would begin to wake up from their long rest, stretching and getting ready to push up toward the light. And then, one beautiful day, Persephone would rise from the underworld like the sun rising in the morning. Demeter would be waiting for her, and they would embrace, and all around them, the world would burst into bloom once more. Spring would return, fresh and new and full of promise, just as wonderful as the first time. And so the cycle continued, year after year. Spring brought new growth and baby animals and flowers everywhere you looked. Summer brought warmth and long days and fields of grain that swayed in the breeze. Autumn brought harvest and colorful leaves and the satisfaction of work well done. Winter brought rest and quiet and soft snow, and time to dream about spring coming again. Persephone learned that she could love 2 places and 2 different kinds of life. She learned that change was natural and good. She learned that saying goodbye was okay when you knew you would say hello again. She learned that she was strong enough to bring light wherever she went, whether in the sunny fields above or the peaceful depths below. Demeter learned that letting go was part of loving. She learned that her daughter was brave and capable and could take care of herself. She learned that the sadness of winter made the joy of spring even sweeter. She learned that change, even when it was hard, could lead to beautiful things. Hades learned that opening his heart made his world brighter. He learned that sharing was better than keeping everything to himself. He learned that friendship was worth the sadness of saying goodbye, because the hellos were always so wonderful. And the earth learned to dance to the rhythm of the seasons, round and round, forever and always. The people who live on the earth learned to plant in spring and tend their crops in summer and harvest in autumn and rest in winter. They learned to work with the seasons instead of against them. They learned to be grateful for each season's gifts. Even now, thousands of years later, the seasons still change in their gentle rhythm. When you see the first flowers of spring pushing up through the last bits of snow, that's Persephone returning to her mother. When you feel the warm sunshine of summer and see fields full of wheat and corn, that's Demeter and Persephone walking together, happy to be side by side again. When you watch autumn leaves fall and spin through the air, that's the earth getting ready to rest. And when you see snow covering everything in white, quiet and peaceful, that's the world sleeping while Persephone brings her light to the underworld. Every season has its beauty. Every season has its purpose. Every season teaches us something important. Spring teaches us about new beginnings. Summer teaches us about growth and warmth. Autumn teaches us about gratitude and preparation. Winter teaches us about rest and dreaming. And somewhere, in a place between the sunny fields and the peaceful underworld, Persephone moves back and forth, bringing joy to both places, teaching everyone that love can stretch across great distances. That goodbyes are okay when you know hellos are coming, and that every ending is really just a new beginning waiting to unfold. The moon shines down on fields waiting for spring, on trees resting in winter, on snow that sparkles in the starlight. The wind whispers through bare branches, singing a soft lullaby. And the earth sleeps peacefully, dreaming of the flowers that will bloom when Persephone returns once more, bringing spring back to the world. You did well today, my little love. Now let your eyes grow heavy, and let the night wrap around you like a soft blanket. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and rest deeply.